Meet Timothy Eagan, New York City cab driver, former photographer. Timothy did corporate, fashion, and editorial photography for 15 years, until one day when photography stopped being fun.
So I decided to take a break, to just get out of it and leave it for a while and see if that would refresh my whole outlook on things. So I put my cameras away, got a taxi license, a hack license, and went out and drove. Some of the enjoyable things of driving were the people you'd meet, from very upbeat old ladies to Broadway stars and just regular people, tourists asking you questions and being amazed that you can go through traffic. And, you know, so that was kind of a neat feeling. And the other part that I enjoyed was sort of the mental game of it, of getting from point A to point B quickly and smoothly. You know, you can get through the city, especially at night, if you watch where you're going and you know the traffic patterns, the light patterns. And I did that for about 6 months, just driving and driving. And one night I was stopping, having some coffee, and looked out the window, and the steam was coming off the manhole covers and the lights and all that. And I said, God, that'd make a great picture. So I drove home, picked up my cameras, and for the next 6 months, I developed the essay. At night in New York, there's such a variety of light sources, from mercury vapor, street lights, to stop lights, to tungsten bare bulbs, neons, everything. Every kind of imaginable light you can think of is somewhere in the city and is going to show up in the pictures, which presented a problem of filtration and balance of the film. After a bit of experimentation, I found a good combination that worked perfectly, which I used for all the pictures, and that was Ektachrome EES 800, 1600 type film and an 80B filter. And that brought everything, you know, within range of what I wanted to do. When you're driving, you're used to checking your mirrors. So I decided to shoot pictures in the mirrors as well. And it was fun because if you drove by something like a theater or a marquee that you wanted to see, instead of turning around and shooting it, you just focus in closely on the rearview mirror and there it is. Of course, the image is reversed, so when you get the transparency back, you have to flip it over so it reads correctly. But it was fun to do that in the rearview mirror because then you'd have two different planes of images that were sometimes confusing. I mean, people could see what you could see in front of the car, and then they'd see the reflection in the mirror as well. So that's part of what I liked about it, is that it throws people off balance a little bit. They can't quite tell what's really the picture and what's the reflection. And in fact, if you don't tell them it's a reflection in a rearview mirror, it makes it even more mysterious. One night coming back from Brooklyn, in the Brooklyn Battery Tunnel, in the state of fatigue I was in, it almost looks like a Star Wars thing or something, with the lights blurring by your head and stuff. And so I tried to capture that just by holding the camera up to the windshield and doing exposures as I went through the tunnel. And it worked real nice. The lights blurred and the bouncing of the car created the reflection on the hood of the car, and that does create a real blur. It created a blur in my head coming over, and it did in the camera as well. The biggest thing, I guess, out of the whole shoot, or the whole reason I did all the thing, is really because of the lights and shapes and forms that go on in the city. I mean, light is what photography is all about, and there's such a myriad of lights in the city. I was able to hook the camera behind my shoulder on the partition between the front and the back seat, and work the camera by remote control. So I'd be coming down the street driving with one hand, the remote control in the other hand, and when I'd see lights and configurations I liked, this is the point where I used long shutter speeds. I'd use up to 5 or 10 seconds of shutter, and because the camera was mounted to the body of the car, the car is relatively stable. Well, the whole project is something I worked on for 6 months, and it's a personal thing. It was, as I said, I was out of photography, and I wasn't interested in photography, and then when I started doing this, all of that fun and magic came back to it, where I could take pictures and the lights would look neat, and it was a graphic image and something that people could enjoy visually. And I was very happy with that. I think the whole thing worked out very nice.